When it comes to Christmas films, particularly but not exclusively Hallmark, Danica McKellar is one of my favourites. I absolutely love her. So I was very excited to watch Love at the Christmas Table, not just because she's in it, but I'd heard some pretty good things about it. This was released in 2012 and it's directed by Rachel Lee Goldenberg. And I have to say, the first half of it wasn't that good for me. In terms of the way it was presented, it was very well done, very well edited. The age progression of the characters worked quite well, and I will explain what I mean by that in a moment. But it wasn't until about the halfway point that I actually became quite interested in it. So this starts off, I say starts off, quite a lot of this film is about these young teenagers who are in love, and we get to see their life when they're 19, 20, 21, so on. And then something happens and they end up going separate ways. And then cut to years later. I can't remember exactly how many years later, but they are now obviously, they're established. They have their own careers and their own lives now. And there's obviously this contemplation that maybe they should have stayed together. Will they, won't they be together by the end of the film? I'm not obviously going to divulge what actually happens, but I do think that the second half, once they are, I believe, around 30, that's when I took an interest and began to like it. And I liked the narrative, I liked the settings, I liked how Christmassy it was. Beforehand, watching them grow up, it was decent enough. But I also think just because of my age, films with teenage protagonists are never as interesting to me, or rarely as interesting to me, as films with, protagonists with adult problems. So maybe that's why the first half didn't really do too much for me. But in terms of the actual presentation of the story, the development of it, the way it was edited together with the age progression, I think it worked well. Just for me, I was more emotionally invested in the characters and what we may hope to get out of their relationship or lack thereof. Didn't really enter things until a little bit later on. Would I recommend it? I would, absolutely. It's not my favourite. It's probably not a film I'd watch again, because if I were to watch this, it would purely be because Danica McKellar's in it. And if I were in the mood for a Danica McKellar film that I'd already seen, this wouldn't make the top 5. Nevertheless, if you're looking for a Christmas film, Love at the Christmas Table is not the worst choice you could make. I'd say it's worth watching once.